Okay. So the second name for the standard deviation that you have, standard deviation, is root mean square. Write down the points along with me, okay? Root mean square of deviations from arithmetic. It is an important point for your MCQ, okay? Now, I'll give you the formulas for this. Like we did in the previous case, for raw data and for grouped data. The notation for standard deviation is sigma. This notation is called as sigma notation, and the formula is like this: under root of summation of x minus x bar the whole square upon n. Otherwise, the second formula is there, which is also very important one: summation x square upon n minus x bar square. In most of the cases, we will be using the second formula. The first formula is also used, but very rarely. Second formula is used very frequently. Now, when I want to use the formula or apply the formula for the group data, as you already know, group data can be either the frequency distribution also. So in such a case, the formula is the changes that we made for the mean deviation, same changes are going to be applied over here. What was the first change? N was replaced by summation f. So I replace this by summation f. Second, numerator was multiplied with f. So I get over here summation of f into x minus x bar the whole square. Similarly, when I want to apply the corresponding changes over here, summation x square will be replaced by summation of fx square. N will be replaced by summation of f, and here again it will be minus x bar square. How do we calculate the value of x bar? Over here x bar is summation of x upon n, and in this case x bar is summation of fx upon summation of f. So this is the two main formulas for calculation of your standard deviation. Now the second part, as we have written, it is depending on the variance. So what is variance? Square of standard deviation is called as variance. So in such a case, I can say that variance is denoted as sigma square. Now see, there are no new formulas for variance. This sigma is with square root. So when you square, the square roots will go away, but the only formula will be summation of x minus x bar the whole square upon n. Otherwise, summation x square upon n minus x bar square. Otherwise, if you are given the frequency data or the group data, so apply the corresponding formulas by just removing the square root, and you are ready with your formula. Okay. After that,
हाँ
the next important point that comes over here is your coefficient of variation. Now this is very important to understand. You can expect this kind of question in your exam. Just a second. Okay. So the coefficient of variation is given by CV, which is equal to sigma upon x bar multiplied by 100. This is the formula that we have to use. Now see, before showing you how the application is done, but before that I'll explain you what is the meaning. Because application of formula is very easy, but interpretation of this particular formula's answer has to be understood and kept in your mind properly. So let us see what is that. We can say application or the use of this particular coefficient of variation. Number one, it is used in comparing consistency or variability of given sets of observation. Now see, I'll tell you a very easy example. Suppose if in your 5th standard you have scored 82%, in the 6th standard you are scoring 91%, in the 7th standard you are scoring 72%, in the 8th probably you are working very hard and now you are scoring 85%. So what happens over here is there is a huge variation in the marks that you are scoring. First you got 82, then you got 91, then again you came back to 75. So what happens is this kind of a data where there is huge differences between the observations, huge variation, is called as an inconsistent data because there is high variability in the data. Whereas suppose if in your 5th standard probably you scored 82, in the 6th you score suppose 84%, in the 7th standard suppose you are scoring 85%, in the 8th standard maybe you are scoring 81%. So you are maintaining your level to a percentage of 81, 83, 85. So that is acceptable. 2, 3, 4% difference is acceptable. So this kind of a data, when the variability is very low, that kind of a data is called as a consistent data. So we say that, now I'll give you the point for this. You can take it down along with me. A set of observations with lower value of coefficient of variation is said to have high consistency and low variability compared to another set of observations which has or with higher value of coefficient of variation is said to have high variability and low consistency. Now see, I'll give you all these points with a tabular manner because remembering such a statement is not so easy. I can understand that. So I'll give you a table for this. So don't worry. Okay. So I write over here coefficient of variation, consistency, and the variability. In case of high coefficient of variation, see what we have written. For a set of observation with higher value of coefficient of variation, there is a high variability. So variability is high and low consistency. So consistency is low. Whereas in case of the observation with lower value of coefficient of variation, it is said to have high consistency and the lower variability. So that is the way you can remember your entire point over here. Okay. Now see, now I will explain you this with the help of an example so that it becomes very clear in your mind. Okay, so let me take an example. So just understand this. Suppose if I have two groups, group 1 and the group 2. And suppose if I am given the values of x bar, for the first group the x bar value is 21. For the second group the x bar value is, let us say, 24. And also I require the standard deviation. The question has given us already the values of sigma 1 and sigma 2. Probably 7 is the CV value, sigma value over here, and sigma 2 is suppose 4 over here. So in that case you have to calculate the value of coefficient of variation for the first group. Let me write it as CV1, and coefficient of variation for the second group. So let us calculate this one by one. This will become sigma 1 upon x bar 1 into 100. So what is sigma 1? It is 7. What is x bar 1? It is 21 multiplied by 100. So when you calculate this, the answer will come out to be probably 33.3%. Whereas for the second one, it will be sigma 2 upon x bar 2 into 100, and this 4 upon 24 into 100. This both will get cancelled, and when you divide this 100 by 6, you will get somewhere 16.6%. So see, you can observe over here that this value is lesser than this value. So I say coefficient of variation for the second group is lesser than coefficient of variation for the first group. This implies that Second group has high consistency and low variability. Did you understand this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that was about your coefficient of variation. Now after this, the next important that point comes over here is called as your properties, and there are some important properties over here, so let us see all of them one by one. See, we say that if all observations of the data are identical or same, then standard deviation is always equal to 0. So now the question is why? So I'll explain you this with the help of an example. Chalo, what is x? The observation values. Let us take some simple number. Let us take it as 4. Suppose if all these observations are 4. In order to find the value of standard deviation sigma, the formula, as you already know, under root of summation x square upon n minus x bar square. So the first thing that we need is for value for x bar. What is that? Summation x upon n. So take the total. 4 and 4 is 8, 4 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus 4 is 20. There are 5 numbers. 20 upon 5 is going to be 4 again. Now I have to find the value of summation of x square. So we have to take the squares of all the numbers. So what is it going to be? 16, 16, 16, 16 and 16. If I add all these values, I get the answer as 80. According to my formula, it becomes 80 upon 5 minus 4 square. So when you divide this 80 by 5, you will get 16, as well as 4 square is 16. So what is that? 0. So sigma value has come out to be 0, which itself is your value for the standard deviation. Did you understand this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is your point number 1. If all the observations are identical, standard deviation is always equal to 0. Okay. Now the point number 2. If sigma x and sigma y are standard deviation of variables x and y respectively, and if y is equal to a plus bx, this implies sigma y is what? Would you try? Yes, can you try?
Um,
Just now as we did for the previous case.
Module of
Yes,
A,
modulus of
module of B
b multiplied by
into what is this? Standard deviation
standard
X.
deviation of x. Very good, absolutely right. So this is sigma y is mod b into sigma x. Okay. So the same property can be extended for the variance. So now how do we extend that? Just now we had seen that variance is nothing but standard deviation square. So when I know that the variance is standard deviation square, I can say sigma square y is equal to b square into sigma square x, and I have removed the modulus from here because square of any number is always positive, so there is no need to put that modulus sign for taking the squares. Therefore we just ignore that square from there and we just write b square sigma square x. I'll give you an example for this. Example: if the statement is like this, variance of x is 16 and y plus 2x is equal to 11, find the variance of y. So what should I do in such a case? I will just say variance of x, that means you are given the value of sigma square x, which is equal to 16, that is known to us. We need to find the variance of y, that means I have to find the value of sigma square y. Okay, I will use this formula. In order to get this, I get over here y is equal to 11 minus 2x, this is a, this is b, so when I substitute, it becomes sigma square y is equal to minus 2 square sigma square x. What is this? This is going to become 4. What is this? This is 16. So 4 times 16 is 64. So sigma square y is 64. What can be more easy than that? Tell me. Have you understood this?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the next and a very important property of the standard deviation, which is, that is actually your point number 3, combined standard deviation. Now once again I will consider two groups, group 1 and group 2, along with their number of observations. Let us consider n1, n2. Their corresponding arithmetic mean values are x bar 1 and x bar 2, that is known to us, and the corresponding standard deviation values are sigma 1 and sigma 2. All these points are given to you in the question. You have to find out the value of combined standard deviation. It means that you have to find out the standard deviation of the two groups together. So what do we do? There are some steps that you have to follow. Step number 1, calculate combined arithmetic mean of both the groups. What is the combined arithmetic mean? X bar, which is plus n2 x bar 2 divided by n1 plus n2. Step number 2, calculate differences of x bar 1 and x bar 2 from the combined mean x bar. So basically differences are denoted by d1 and d2, and it is given by x bar minus x bar 1 and d2 is x bar minus x bar 2. If you want, you can also write it like this: x bar 1 minus x bar, or over here x bar 2 minus x bar, but this won't affect our final answer at all. The formula, the final answer will remain exactly same like it is given over here in step number 3. Combined standard deviation. We say over here sigma is equal to. Now see, the formula is slightly big, but remembering the formula is very easy. So first I'll give you the formula, then I will tell you how to remember this formula. Okay. So the formula is n1 sigma square 1 plus d1 square. This is for the first group. Now when I want to do for the second group, n2 sigma square 2 plus d2 square, and the denominator over here is same as denominator for the combined arithmetic mean, which was this. So you will divide this by n1 plus n2. So basically n1 sigma square 1 d1 square. For the second group n2 sigma square 2 d2 square. See, the terms are same. Only depending on which group you are doing the calculation, you have to apply that corresponding numbers. That's it. Very easy to remember it like that. N sigma square d square, n sigma square d square, n sigma square d square. That's it. Okay. If there is any third group, so you can again apply the same thing. N3 into sigma square 3 plus d3 square, just in case it is given. But if it is not given, we don't have to worry about that. Did you understand this?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let us see the formulas application in the example. Group 1 and the group 2. Number of observations are n1 and n2, which is suppose 25 and 45. I am taking an example with their arithmetic mean values. X bar 1 as let us say 120 and x bar 2 value as let us say 110, and the corresponding standard deviation values are given to me. Sigma 1 is 12 and sigma 2 is given to me 15. If all these observations are given, we just have to find out the combined standard deviation. So as your step number 1 says, first you have to calculate the combined arithmetic mean. So I will say over here x bar is equal to n1 x bar 1 plus n2 x bar 2 upon n1 plus n2, which is, just calculate this, 25 into 120 plus 45 into 110 and divide this by 25 plus 45. So when we do that, what is the answer? Did you get it?
3000 plus
Hmm.
4950.
Yeah. So add those both numbers and then divide it by 25 plus 45, which is 70. So see what you get.
113.5.
113.57 to be exact. So that will be your required value of combined arithmetic mean. So that was your step number 1. Now what is step number 2? We have to find the differences. D1, D2. X bar minus X bar 1, which is X bar is 113.57 minus X bar is 120. So tell me what is this difference? Minus X bar 2, which is 113.57. Yes, I am waiting for your answer.
First one is 6.43.
It has to be negative 6.43 because 113 is smaller.
Ah.
And the
And
second one
second is
is
3.5.
3.57.
57.
Yes. So now with the help of these values, you will be able to calculate your required value for the combined standard deviation. So let us see. As per the formula, sigma is equal to under root of n1 sigma square 1 plus d1 square n2 sigma square 2 plus d2 square divided by n1 plus n2. Substitute the values. 25 multiplied by sigma square 1. Now what is sigma 1? That is equal to 12. So what is the square of that? 144 plus 6.43 is the value of D1. So just square this and tell me what answer are you getting over here?
6.43 square.
Yes, 6.43 square.
41.3.
Yes, 41.34 is the value for the first. Same way for the second, N2 is 45. Sigma square 2. Sigma 2 is 15. So in such a case, sigma square 2 is 15 square, which is nothing but 225 plus what is the square of 3.57? Just square it and tell me.
12.74.
Yes, 12.7 and divide this by 25 plus 45, which is 70. Now see, I'll tell you how to add this directly without using your notebook any further. What you do is first add 144 and 41.34. See what you get, tell me. Did you?
185.34.
Yes, multiply that with 25.
463. Sorry,
Okay.
4,633.5.
Alright, so that is the answer for the first term. Now you can see the M plus button on your calculator, M plus.
And plus, huh.
Yeah, so press that button once.
Hmm.
Now without pressing any other button, add 225 plus 12.74.
Huh.
Whatever is the answer, multiply that with 45.
2,19,205.8.
Okay, whatever it is, does not matter. Again press M plus button only once.
Hmm.
And then press MRC button. It will be just one more button above that, MRC.
Huh.
Yeah. So that will give you some answer. Divide that by 70. And whatever answer comes, press the square root button. So that will directly give you the answer for combined standard deviation without writing anything else further.
56.54.
After taking the square root button,
7.51.
no. The answer is actually 14.749. That must be something in your calculator that you might have not cleared the memory of your calculator. So first be sure to clear the memory and then repeat the same procedure once again, and you will get that answer 7.14.749. Okay, try this for your homework today.
Okay.
ठीक है. Did you write this?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the way we are going to calculate our combined standard deviation. We'll solve some more examples when we are doing our exercises. Okay. So now let us write the important points that we need for our MCQs. So the point number 1, it is best measure of dispersion as it is based on all observations. Number 3, number 2, unlike mean deviation, standard deviation does not ignore signs of deviations. Now what is the meaning of that? Just listen. When we talk about the mean deviation, so if you remember your formula for mean deviation, we had seen it like this. Modulus of either x minus x bar upon n, or we had taken for median modulus of x minus median upon n, and the same thing was also done for the mode. So when we are taking the modulus, it means that we are not giving any importance to the signs of the differences, that is the signs of the deviations. But if you see our formula for standard deviation, the formula is like this: x minus x bar the whole square upon n. So when we square, automatically the negative number becomes positive and the positive number also remains positive. So here when we are taking the square, we are not ignoring the signs, we are taking the square to make it positive. Whereas in modulus, we are ignoring the signs. So that is the basic difference over here. So this is also a point of importance for your MCQ, because they can ask you which measure does not give importance to the signs of the deviations, then the answer will be mean deviation. Is that very clear to you?
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to remember it like that. That was your point number 2. Now the point number 3, which is it is rigidly defined and easy to comprehend, but not that easy to calculate. Why isn't it easy to calculate? Because the standard deviation has the formula x minus x bar the whole square, summation of that, which is a very difficult calculation. And after getting all those calculations, again you have to take the square root, which is more difficult to calculate orally, for the some different numbers which are non-perfect squares. So we have to remember that it is easy to comprehend, but it is not so easy to calculate the value of standard deviation. And number four, it is affected by extreme values and also by sampling fluctuations. And number 5 point that we need for now, it is possible for further mathematical treatment. So what is the meaning of further mathematical treatment? We have just now seen that we have studied the combined standard deviation, which was not the case in your quartile deviation or in mean deviation, because others are not possible to apply this combining, but only standard deviation is applicable for combining for the two or more groups over here. Okay, so that was your point number 5. And now the point number 6, it is most commonly used measure of dispersion.